Let's talk about this. We're going to go in reverse order, I guess. That's what we're doing. Let's talk about Jesse Kelly, right? Because Jesse Kelly, big time influencer, this tweet has 1.4 million views, over 638,000 followers. Anyone fans of Jesse Kelly? Now, I want to be really clear. This again is not something that I'm not actually like what I'm about to say about Jesse Kelly is true of pretty much every conservative influencer that there is. We're going to just have real talk right now, guys. Jesse Kelly tweeted today, I talked to Scott Pressler today and found out he isn't even paid. My word. Democrats find a way to pay every miscreant who puts in work for them. Meanwhile, the guy leading the national charge in ballot harvesting and GOTV has to do it for free. Dude should be a millionaire. Now, nothing Jesse Kelly is saying here is wrong. Jesse Kelly is 100% right. Amazon Eve, thank you for the super chat. The right engages in its own version of repressive tolerance. Ain't that the truth, Amazon Eve? Ain't that the truth? Jesse Kelly's not wrong in a thing that he said. Scott Pressler does not get paid. And that is a fucking travesty. But the question I have is, why didn't Jesse Kelly know that? Jesse Kelly, big time conservative influencer, explaining to conservatives all day, every day, all the authoritarian things that they need to do in order to win. Jesse Kelly had no idea that the top conservative activist in the country isn't even paid. But I knew that. How did I know that? I knew Scott Pressler wasn't paid when I met Scott Pressler over 3 years ago. How did I know that Scott Pressler wasn't paid, but one of the big time conservative influencers who is guiding millions of people had absolutely no idea that the top conservative activist in the country, by far, hands down, there is no comparison to Scott Pressler. How does he not know that Scott Pressler does all of this for free or for donations? I knew that 3 years ago. Ahead of them again. But that's not my point. The point is that these people who conservatives charge with leading them don't actually have any interest in the topics that they're covering. This is the real bitch of it. These people, these people pretend to be interested in what's going on in the world. They pretend to care about what's going on in the world. They pretend that they are the ones that are going to rally the troops to fight back. They don't even know what's going on half the time. And when you inform them what's going on, they do not care. And I'm going to prove that. Do you know the moment that I knew that Jesse Kelly didn't give a flying F about any of the things that he claims to talk about and claims to care about? Jesse Kelly used to follow me on Twitter. I don't know what exactly I did to get him to follow me, but he did used to follow me on Twitter. I rarely interacted with him. I never had a bad exchange with him because I just I didn't interact with him. I didn't there were no words exchanged. I didn't really know much about the guy. I knew he followed me on Twitter. I knew he had a large conservative audience. And the only time that I ever interacted with him after he followed me was this. Let me see if I can get this to be big enough. This is the one and only direct message that I sent Jesse Kelly. It was after we exposed the Burlington, Vermont schools for grooming kids on the internet. I mean, again, like, I have a lot of influencers who follow me. I try to use DMs judiciously. I hold back unless it's something that's actually important that, like, I don't DM them every single little thing. I DM them, here are the things your audience needs to effing know. I sent Jesse Kelly one direct message, and it was with the Twitter thread that I wrote about the Burlington, Vermont schools grooming middle school children on the internet. Not only did Jesse Kelly not share that thread, Jesse Kelly unfollowed me for sending him that thread. Now, this might seem like a silly thing to think to complain about, right? An influencer unfollowed me, like, who really cares? And I generally agree. Who really cares? The point I'm making is that these are issues that people like him claim to care about. And I have people in my feed all the time. Carlin, have you connected with it? Why don't you send it to the Blaze? Why don't you send it to the Daily Wire? Why don't you send it to Jesse Kelly? Why don't you send it to Project Veritas? Actually, Project Veritas is okay. We'll put Project Veritas is all right. Okay, Project Veritas is like not. Why don't you send it to James O'Keefe? James O'Keefe is a different story than Project Veritas. Why don't you get in touch with these influencers, Carlin? Why don't you tell them what's going on? I mean, I've heard this a million times, right? With the school stuff. Carlin, why don't you just tell them I do, or I did? I did. And most of the time, when I tell influencers about this stuff or media organizations, I don't even do it anymore with the expectation that they're actually going to cover it. I don't do it with that expectation at all because they never do. They will cover bullshit that their friends send them that doesn't even mean anything, that is just like that is just clickbait bullshit. They will cover that because it comes from their friends. Here's how it works, guys. All of these influencers, well, not all of them, a lot of them are friends, and they only share each other's content, or they look for things that go viral on Twitter and they'll share that. But the important stuff, the stuff that actually matters, the stuff I have tried like hell to get people to watch. I mean, maybe the influencers are onto something. They know that people don't really care about grooming in the schools. They know that people don't even really care. Maybe that's why they don't cover it. I don't know. But the reason that I kept contacting these people wasn't so much that I thought they would cover it. I thought it would be great if they covered it. I would have been really happy if they covered it, but I never sent I didn't send it, at least not in like the last year and a half. I didn't send it to them with the expectation that they were going to cover it. I sent it to them. I sent it to them to show that they wouldn't. What? What is going on? What, hang on, what is Tim Pool doing? Nah, that's not real. Come on. That's not real. Anyway, you never expect that people are like, no one is under, like, okay, let me be very clear. No one is under any obligation to cover anything, right? No one is under any obligation to cover any of the stuff that I've unearthed about the schools. No one is under any obligation to do anything. And I never have the expectation that they're going to. My point is that when given the opportunity to say, hey, parents, did you know they're teaching this crazy sex ed to your autistic kids? Or did you know that they are quite literally grooming middle school children live on the internet? Or did you know that they're integrating queer biology and queer math into the curriculum in school districts? Did you know they're doing any of this stuff? When given the opportunity to tell people that, and they don't even have to talk about me. I don't really honestly even give a fuck most of the time. But given the opportunity to tell people that, they say no every single time. I don't know if it's that my content is, like, too advanced for them. I don't know if it's because they're not smart enough to understand it. I mean, that would honestly be my inclination a lot of the time. I would just say they're probably not smart enough to even understand what they're looking at. I don't know what the answer is, guys, but I know that they don't cover the things that you actually need to know about. And that should, quite frankly, concern everyone that looks to these people as a source of information, because I am probably, and I'm truly not trying to like pat myself on the back right now. My understanding of what is going on is probably at least 2 years ahead of your average conservative influencer. I mean, we know it's 2 years ahead of Jesse Kelly because I knew that Scott Pressler wasn't paid years ago. And you just can't get them to you can't get them to look at it. Carlin has pointed out time and time again, focusing on school boards is a total waste of time. We will never win. The entire educational system from top to bottom is infected with communism. That's exactly right. Reagan says what it shows is that they aren't interested in informing the public. They want personal acknowledgement and clout for themselves only. They actually don't care at all about exposing things. That is exactly right, Reagan. That's exactly right.